Good morning, folks. See the little hummingbird there? I love hummingbirds. There's more hummingbirds in Arizona than any other place. And I think that's the mama. She's got a nest over there inside the house. Right inside the house, there's two little hummingbirds in the nest. And she's been sitting here looking at me like, what's going on? I am at the Airbnb today and wanted to do a quick video check-in about, the purpose of this video is kind of talking about changing your mind. And I think that's something that is definitely not talked about enough. And I'm sitting here next to a really cool, look at this, antique runway marker lights, put the hot tub in, there's a pool, and I did a bunch of work on this house. And I've been running it for a little over 3 years, 2 years, like where I haven't been living here. It's been a full-time Airbnb. And, it's one of those things where I worked really hard to get to this job, to get this goal and this vision to come together. What I wanted. This is my vision. Now I have it. It actually turned out better. Like when I started this, I didn't think about aviation themes. All the rooms have different themes. And when people come here, then one thing that they say is just so memorable. It's so fun. The backyard, it's also, I put some extra fencing up so that I kind of wanted it to be like a Southwest Mr. Miyagi's backyard, and lights across the pool. And, there's a big garage over there with some Cessna parts, and the grill and a place to eat outside. This right here is a wing that I built from the old diving board. So it's like a little table that rolls around, and underneath that is the diving board. So I got a chance to be creative, and it was just so fun being creative and in the moment and building something. And then I put it all together, and it's been paying for itself for sure. I've cash flowed this deal. I've actually lived off of a lot of the cash flow from this house, to be honest with you. So it's actually has worked out really well, and now it's kind of like I want to move on. I want to do something else, and it's been a whole journey of how to. All right, what's my next game plan with this? Do I want to switch it to a long-term rental? Do I want to maybe go what's called a mid-term rental, where you rent it out month to month to like insurance companies and that kind of thing? And I've consolidated two houses into this one, so it's full of furniture. There's all the TVs and 4 bedrooms and beds, all the stuff. And I'm like, I just want to be closer to my family. I just want to not have to think about this house anymore as far as like, oh, yeah, how much money do I have coming in? How much money do I have going out? I'm very thankful for everything that I have. I also have been working 1099, so I think I've also really thought about, gosh, I could never get a mortgage right now because the 1099 income that I'm doing, and limiting beliefs, right? And so that's, this is what I could tell you about real estate is there's 100 different ways to do a real estate deal. You can do land contracts, you can do rent to owns, you can, there is a lot of things. And just because I'm working a 1099 income right now doesn't mean in the future I will have a salary or something that's beneficial, or, and I'm thinking about the future, but I don't even know where I want to live quite yet. I don't really enjoy Michigan winters where my family lives, and I am rethinking that because I really enjoy my nieces and my nephews in the Midwest. I also have family in Colorado, so I think I've been thinking about Colorado a lot because my cousin Noble is having a baby soon, and I'd really like to be there for them to just help feed the chickens or whatever they need me to do. I just want to be there for them as family, as our family did for my mom. My Aunt Ray and was there for my mom in that way. And I remember my mom and my Aunt Ray would go drive down to Kentucky every 6 months or do some spring cleaning, fall cleaning for the elderly family that we had. And they would go there. It would kind of, I remember it being kind of like a vacation. I just remember being in the car a lot and getting stuck in traffic in Cincinnati. It was so hot and we didn't have air conditioning. But I just want to be there for my family if they need me. And I don't really have a goal or agenda right now where I need to build a real estate portfolio like I did a couple, 3 years ago. So, boy, change in life, right? Change is, it's come to me very hard. I've been holding on to this house and all of these things that I've worked to get. And a friend of mine helped me understand the other day that, she lost her husband, and she's like, everything that I value, I lost. So it's whatever this life's about right now is about learning and growing. And I believe we all have a valley of the shadow of death some point in our lives. I've seen it with my family and losing mom. And it's been very, very tough on me. Maybe I've been very tough on myself. I'm learning, and I've learned that also maybe what I value is different. Like, oh boy, the hummingbird's right here. I wonder if you can see it. Oh, it's right there. It was right there. It's like, anytime I see a hummingbird, I think of Mom. Mom, I love you. My mom's name was Robin. And every time I see a hummingbird, I swear they're looking right at me. And it's like, Mom, thank you for checking out on me. I love you. Appreciate your love. But back to, I think that was who I valued the most, was my mother. I think there was not anything in this earth at all that I valued as much as my mom. I don't think college was super important to me, but having my mom see me graduate was, right? Having my mom see me be successful was. And I'm reevaluating that right now too, as far as I need to think about loving myself more and looking inward and, seeing, why is it that I chase shiny objects? Why was I looking at this house and having another house before I was even done with the other one in Colorado? That is also a thing. It's like I'm just getting done with the project. I'm, wobbly because I'm, all right, where's my next mountaintop? And my counselor says I chase shiny objects. So I was like a raft guide for many years, and I was getting disenchanted with it a little bit, and it's a seasonal job. And then I got this job where I was a dog sledding guide in Alaska, and I went to see Alaska and came home from that job and it just so happened to be 2008, and I couldn't get a job anywhere. And I had just graduated college, and so I ended up moving up to the mountains and kind of chasing the mountain dream for a while. And I think with the loss of mom, what I can tell you is grief is a lot of things. It is a lot of things. And back to that theme of change and evaluating what I want, I think that mom had her own journey, but what I'm going through now is soul searching on a level that I don't think I could have done unless I was forced to. personally. So that's where I would encourage you all to, if you to take some time in your weeks, days, and months to check in with yourself, with your soul, and look around and say, hey, is this what I want? Have I changed? Do I need to make a change? One thing I've learned too is relationships. My dad said too, he said that I don't value things anymore. I value people and relationships. And what's the implications with that shift? So I've decided to sell my Airbnb. So I've decided that, I'm going to stop having this death grip on this project that I worked so hard to get to be a little bit more free in my responsibilities so that I can free up my mind to other things, and quite frankly, so I'm not tied down here watching this place 3,000 miles away from my family, who I know I want to see more. I don't necessarily feel like I want to move to Michigan right now. It's great in the summertime. I would love to visit, but the wintertime is rough on my body and all the aches and pains that I have. But getting closer is the idea, or being free to maybe travel around and work from an RV is what I'm actually thinking. So pray for me, guys. I am going to make a change. What I've learned from my guy Ed Milet and different people is to call your shot. Say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to doing it. Now that I've told you all, I'm committed. I can change my mind, of course, but I've done enough searching. I've done enough thoughts on this that, the real estate market's not where it was when I bought this house. It's not going to be, when I sell it, it's going to be a lot more difficult to sell and a lot less margins than the house in Colorado, for sure. But that's okay. And I've made income from this house that's kept me going, so that's something to remember. And I just feel it's time. So pray for me that this will all work out, and in divine timing. But I can tell you, it was a hard decision. I've been just worried about what to do, and so that's what's going on, guys. Like I feel like I've changed. It's halfway through 2025, and I'm not quite done with the grief. And everybody tells me, with grief, you're never gonna be done. But August, it'll be a year, and I think I wake up earlier and earlier every day because my mind is just becoming different, and time to commit to change, and it's time to commit to relationships more. It's time to commit to having faith in Harley's decision to do something else. I've been having my goal for this month is develop more discipline, be more diligent, and work on my discernment, and knowing that the decision, right or wrong, is not the answer, but just making a decision, going towards it. If I make mistakes, I'll deal with it. So change in 2025, huh? That's the theme of this one. I want to encourage you all to not be afraid of it. I want to encourage you all to reach out to family, friends. Let's build those relationships again. Let's set our political, ideological bitterness or differences aside. I feel like that's what we need as a society. That's what we need in our families. I'm going to choose love over everything else. I'm going to forgive everything, and I know I'm going to know who I am. Those three things we study at the place I go to called Unity. It's love above all, forgive everything, and know who you are. So I have been learning who Harley is on so many different levels, and that's what I'm going to take away from the grief and the loss of Mom, is that she would want us to be strong and move on. She would want us to, like she would always say, you can do whatever you put your mind to. She would also say, being a cancer survivor of 16 years, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And that is the takeaway from this video, guys. Change and relationships and whatever. But remember my mom's words, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And she was talking about, I remember getting some medication, and I feel worse than I did when we went to the doctor. Is this right? And she had multiple bouts of chemotherapy. She lost her hair, I don't know how many times. And the one thing people would say about my mom is like, I'm not going to complain about whatever it is I have going on when I see that woman going through what she's been going through and carrying it with grace, strength, love. She loved us through it all. But it could be in, the chaotic world that we're living in and the divisiveness. Let's stop taking sides. Let's start having more love for each other and understanding if you can. It's a better choice, I promise you. But, it could be that it needed to get worse before it gets better. It could be that if you're on one side or the other, you got to realize what it is you want and who you are. I think what we want is more love, more peace, more understanding, not more arguing, more division, less taking care of the weak and the poor and the sick and the old. I live in Tucson, and there is a lot of folks who are of a certain age, a certain demographic, and I'll tell you, I've seen people help each other more here once I started looking for it. And so as a nation, I think we have to understand who it is we are. Do we want to judge each other for what we're different? Or do we want to help each other understand, hey, what is it that you feel that way? I don't feel that way about whatever it is. What is it that makes you feel that way? What and how questions, hint, hint, instead of why. Let's swallow why and use what, and what is it or how is it that you feel differently than me? Because I love you. I've known you my whole life. I think that we have a lot more in common than we have differences. And we need us all, right? We need us all in this world to have a good world. The people wouldn't be here if they weren't meant to be here, right? The different people, we're all different too, right? So if we can start to come together more, you don't have to agree either. You don't have to change your mind and agree. But what I think we do have to do is start to empathize, at least understand what is going on. Understand, why do they feel so strongly about whatever it is? Why do I feel so strongly differently? Let's have conversations. Let's calm it down. Let's just think about the other side a little bit. If you can agree on something, start there, go from there. And change is hard. Change is hard. It's needed, though. I think we can all probably agree that some change is needed, right? And I could tell you from my experience here, And losing my mom, I didn't even know the change was needed. I didn't even know the change was needed till I had experienced real loss in my life. I didn't know what I needed to change and work on in my own life, in my own soul, and look in the mirror and love myself more, regardless of who I am, how fat I am, how short I am, losing a little bit of hair. I love you, Harley. I do, man. You're the only one I got, right? And that's the same for all the rest of us in the world. We don't have to like everybody. We don't have to go out and have beers with everybody or whatever, coffee. But we will get joy in understanding each other, understanding why people think the way they do. And I guarantee we will have more joy if we think about the things we have in common first. Might require a little bit of change. Change is hard, right? But it also can be great. It can be needed. And that's the moral of the story here for you today, guys, is I think we can all agree something's got to change. And it's loving a little bit more. If you don't want to love, smile and understand who you are. The more you can listen to somebody else on why they're different, you start to understand who you are and why you feel the way you do, and it'll make you feel a little bit more confident in yourself. And you don't have to agree. You just want to take one step towards understanding. You'll hear me talk about Chris Voss all the time. He calls it empathy, but tactical empathy. So you got to learn how to not take yourself hostage with emotions, not be so angry, not be so reactive to the differences. You got to hold that aside and not take yourself hostage with your emotions and start to reach out. I just see so many good people, so many good, kind people really looking at other things and being upset by it. And I think it's time for us all to guard our hearts, take a step back, and know who we are. So, love you all. Things are changing. We're halfway through this chaotic year, and I promise you, like my mom said, if it feels like it's getting worse, sometimes it's got to get worse before it gets better. And let's focus on getting better. Let's focus on healing. Let's focus on letting go of the negativity and the news and the news and the news and the news and the infighting and the taking sides, and focus on the stuff that we do have. A lot of us have great family, grandkids, kids, nieces, nephews, friends. We've got great people. Yes, they're different. Yes, they might feel differently, but they a lot of times still love you. We can find that love again. I know we can. Love you all. Hopefully this helps. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I'm always here to chat if anybody needs me. Love you.